Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks, and this evening I'm joined by
Steve.
Mark.
and we just finished playing Hadara, which is a kind of funny drafting game. Essentially, you're building a tableau. There's quite a few similarities with Seven Wonders here, as you'll notice as we play the game. But you're building a tableau with different coloured cards like this. And they effectively, when you get a card, you can see this has a 2 here, moves up 2 on your yellow track. When you go sort of past 10, you put an extra little plus 10 here, and it sort of resets back to the beginning. So effectively, you're tracking 4 different kinds of resources here. Yellow is income, so in the income phase, I'm going to get, in this case, 10 plus 9 is 19 coins. Red is like your combat strength. Blue is your, I don't know, arts or something. It's your ability to carve statues. You can carve statues when you have the required amount of blue power, if you like, and you can see they're going to get you points potentially at the end of the game. You then also have the green track, which is required to feed your people, so to speak, depending on getting enough on the green here. Each of these people, the cards that you've got here, needs to be fed. So if you need more green track than cards you have acquired. Otherwise, when it comes to feeding your people, some of the people are going to die from starvation, and that's bad. You don't want to lose the cards. How do you get all these cards though? Well, the central mechanism here is a kind of a funny draft in the middle. So because I am the serpenty dragony thing here, when it's my go, I will be taking from this pile here. And to start with, in fact, there's a nice little tracker here which I'll follow you through. So to start with, you're always drawing 2 cards from the deck. So because it's here, I'll draw 2 purple cards, and I'm going to pick 1 to keep. So maybe for some reason I decide I want this one. This is going to get me 1 on my yellow track and 2 on my red track. You add it to here. But you've got to pay the cost. The cost is at the bottom left. So this in theory would cost me 4 coins. You just spend money like this. But as you go through the game, in fact, this is the situation at the end of the game. So we've got a lot of cards in front of us. But every card you already have reduces the cost. And the cards get more expensive as the game goes on. So it might be at the start that I've only got, say, 1 purple card, and so if I want to buy this one that costs me 4, you can see at the bottom left there, then that would actually cost me a discount of 1. It would cost me 3 coins, and you kind of add it to your supply here and add to the appropriate tracks. Then the other people, according to them, simultaneously are drawing from their piles, but after everyone's taken from their piles, this rotates 1, and now you can see the dragon is on the green pile. So I would take 2 cards from the green one, and you're picking 1. Again, you're paying the cost at the bottom left. And what I didn't mention is the one you don't pick, so let's say I decide to take that card there. This one I don't pick goes on a discard pile, and you start to build up discard piles next to the piles here. So next to each deck, you're going to accumulate discard piles. And you keep going through until you've taken all the cards out of the middle and either paid them, or if you can't afford them, if you decide, oh, I don't have these 6 coins required for this one, then on the back you can effectively throw it away and just get the cash. So I could ditch the card, and that would give me 3 coins. So having taken all the cards in the middle there, 2 cards at a time, you then get your income. So whatever your yellow track is, you get that much money. Then if you want, you can take a colony, and that's what the red track is for. There's various colonies. A lot of these have been taken already, but there's kind of requirements here. You can see it says 15 for that one there, and then it's 21 and 30, so they kind of get more difficult as you go through the game. So at the moment, the colony here is 10 plus 3 is 13, so I don't quite have enough for the 15 colony. But if you manage to have enough when we get to this kind of red stage here, you take it, oops, and either it's going to give you some points at the end of the game and some money, or you can actually pay some money, flip it over, and it will increase your tracks and possibly get you some more points. And then you kind of add it here. But you're going to get a pile of these, hopefully, as you go through the game. That's the red one. Then you can carve your statue, which is spending on the blue things. And they're quite interesting. You have a number of these tokens at the side. If you place this in here when you have enough to carve the statue, you'll get 6 of that track increase. So I bump up my blue by 6. Alternatively, when you place it, you can put it in upside down, and it'll give you 6 points at the end of the game. And each statue gives you points anyway, according to the number here. So you can get quite a lot of points, as you can see, from building statues. Then, having done all of that, you go to phase B, where you're taking the cards from the discard pile. At this point, you can take any one you like. So maybe you just decide, oh, I want this blue one. And again, you're either paying the cost at the bottom left, or you flip it over and you discard it for the coins. So you're acquiring a kind of fresh set of cards. Having got all of the discards from the various piles, you get your income again, you do your colonies again, carve your statue. This is where you have to have enough green track to feed your people. And then finally, there's these medals, which are quite interesting. Essentially, you can buy a gold medal. They're quite expensive, and the prices increase as you go through the ages. This is one epoch we're playing. And after the first epoch, you deal out a fresh set of cards for epoch 2, and then epoch 3, and then that'll be the end. But yeah, as you go through the 3 epochs, the prices become more expensive. So after the end of the first epoch, you can pay 6 for a gold medallion here. And this is going to give you points at the end for sets of cards. So every complete set, like one of each colour I've got, would get me 7 points. If I've got 1 gold medallion, you can buy 2 for even more points. Or there's these silver medallions, they're a little bit cheaper, but they're going to give you points according to how high your track is at the end. So my yellow track here, you see, has got up to 19. So this yellow one here is worth half that, and you kind of round up. So you're getting points from that as well. There's also points you can see on the bottom of each of the cards. So you're getting a lot of points potentially from cards. If they're worth points here, you can see underneath, you just add up, so you can get lots of points that way. So lots of different tracks and points and cars and things, and at the end you add it all up, most points wins. What do you think?
Lots of different tracks and points and cars and things are games I like. I think this is good. I think there's definitely an engine builder there. There is not much interaction. So like in terms of what other people are going to do, you can't interfere with their drafting for the first half at all. You can't interfere with their board at all. There's no conflict like there is in Seven Wonders at all. The only limited interaction you've got is when you come to phase B and you're drafting from the discard pile, you have to take the top one. So if I've previously discarded a card I want, I need to try and remember whereabouts in the pile it is and make sure I try to get it, which in a 3-player game is possible. There was one card in the second age that I really wanted, and I did it in such a way that I refused to take things and force other people to get it, so I got that card. I think in a 5-player game, there'll be no interaction. You just won't be able to force cards back to you in any sort of way. So if you like interaction in games, there's potentially more interaction in Seven Wonders and other kind of drafting games. Having said that, it's good. There's lots of different kind of ways to go. I imagine if the way we played it, we all kind of had a balanced strategy. We all had a lot of each colour. We all got both of the gold medals, which scored us like 42, 56 points at the end of the game for lots of different sets. But I imagine if you kind of focus on some colours and not all of them, you can get to the high points, you can get to the highest colony, you can get to the highest statue, which none of us did in the game we played. And in doing so, because every card you've got makes the future ones cheaper, it feels like you'd have to kind of streamline your strategy to do that. Other than that, it feels like everyone needs to get green cards, and the fact is when all the green cards go, and then everyone needs to get money, and then all the yellow cards go. So it feels like that should be a potential strategy in the game, and after one play, I'm not sure it is, and if it is, it probably isn't a winning strategy. So I'd like to play it again. I might want to try maybe just ignoring one colour completely and going down that route and see if I can get points that way. But it's good.
Mark?
Yeah, it's definitely fun. It's definitely a game of numbers. It doesn't even pretend to hide the fact that I'm moving red up 2. I know it's technically military, but it doesn't even like try to make that in like with swords or anything like that. It's just red 3. Past that though, the purple cards, which are like special ability cards, are fun. You get a decent variation in all the sets, because with us playing 3 players, we get 6 cards to go down out of a possible, I think it's like 14, so you get a bit more than there are even if you play the full 5-player game. So you do see different stuff come out. I like the fact that things do feel different to some extent from game to game with what choices you ultimately get by the 2 cards you get, and also what's available to you. I haven't seen anybody do great if they don't get a good economy. I think it's very hard to survive without getting yellow. I think you can ignore red or blue and try to maximise the other one, but you're always going to need yellow and green, as Steve said. And yellow is particularly important because if you end up in a position where you just can't buy stuff, you're just going to be in a world of pain. The cards you want will just not be available. So if you're unlucky on your draws and just get loads of, like in the first round, a load of one yellows, you might have been for a long game ultimately. Past that though, it's a good way. It's fun. It's easy to teach, and I haven't got any real complaints about downtime or slowness. It obviously doesn't have that Seven Wonders everything simultaneous, but it does some of that, which makes it better than one at a time, in my opinion.
Rating?
I would give it an 8 because I do enjoy when I've played it.
Steve?
I'll play it again. I hope there's some variation when I do. So far from this play, I've really enjoyed it. I'd give it an 8 as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think it does a great job. I feel like it fills this very similar niche to Seven Wonders, and you can play with quite a lot of players, and it doesn't slow down too much with all the players because a lot of what's taking place is simultaneous. Obviously, you're waiting for the slowest player, but again, that's just like Seven Wonders. I think the artwork is great. I really like the way it looks and the colours and everything. That, in terms of a kind of gateway game, it does that job very well. Once you explain to someone, they're going to struggle a little bit the first time, but then they're going to get into the swing of it and they'll be fine with it. There isn't much interaction, and I don't know how much replayability there is in this game. There's a lot of variation in the cards, and that's really nice. Particularly the purple cards, which I didn't really talk about, but they give you special abilities effectively rather than pushing up tracks. And that's really nice. But as I said, I can imagine you going for a very similar strategy each time, in that you always need really yellow and your green, and you can vary kind of between the red and the blue. In the few times I've played it, the people who kind of balanced and got some of all and gone for the gold medals tend to have done the best. I've not seen anyone kind of focus on a couple of different sets and got loads of them and do well that way. But maybe there's a way of doing it. I'm not sure. But I really enjoy playing it. So none of those things to really bother me too much, because I've always had a great time every time I played it. I would also be on an 8 out of 10. All right, thanks for watching. That was Hadara.